Governor Jim Pillen, again in Vietnam, your official first real trade mission where you got to leave the state of Nebraska and head out. Tell me why it was important for you to be in Vietnam.
Well, I think that we have so much opportunities in the state of Nebraska because of our people and our land and our water. And when you think about the extraordinary opportunities of what we can raise and produce and compete with anybody in the world, but we have to sell it, and every market matters. And the same in the manufacturing world. And so it's really important. Said it for as long as this calling happened to us. That as your governor, I need to defend agriculture, help grow agriculture, value-added agriculture, and then sell it. And so it's important. Vietnam, it's extraordinary. A number of Vietnam veterans that I know have said, "God, I really wish I could be with you, Jim." And I said, "Well, you'll be with me in spirit." And it's just unbelievable. Saigon now called Ho Chi Minh, the growth and the expansion, and so Vietnam's 100 million people. They believe that right now, today, right around 20% of the population is a strong, vibrant middle class. And so their economy is really growing, and the population is doing better, which means that they eat better. Caloric intake is improving, and so it just creates tremendous opportunities for Nebraska to do business, and we match up, right? The people view the world a lot the same way. We all work hard. We want to make things better for families, and nobody here worries about who gets credit. You just go do the best that you can every day. So so we've met a lot of people in a short period of time, and we'll continue to. And continue to build on the relationships. And we just finished with the reception, and we're going to have a lot of people coming to Nebraska, so those are good things. So eyeball to eyeball contact is the only way to develop relationships, and then once you get relationships built, you can get business done. There'll be a bunch of people coming up for Husker Harvest Days and a lot of other opportunities. So yeah, it's a ton of fun and really good people.
When you guys first arrived in Vietnam, what was the first thing on your agenda that you did to showcase Nebraska?
Yeah, well, the first thing is meeting with a lot of the folks from the United States, whether it's USDA, Consul General. They gave us a good briefing on what a lot of current statuses are. Today, we went to what's called a Mega Mart, and they have pretty well built their business plan, trying to copy kind of how Costco does business. And so we spent time there. Got to work with the chef, which I said, don't send those pictures to Suzanne. She might get ideas that I can become a cook. Worked with a chef who made Vietnam dishes from Nebraska, beef and pork. And so, and they had an extraordinary coverage of press. And so those were things that really helped. This trip helps introduce us to the consumers of Vietnam, as well as a lot of businesses.
So I'm curious, Governor, obviously, your roots are in agriculture, so you can kind of talk both sides of that story with the folks, whether you're talking from a government perspective or from a producer perspective.
Well, I think that being the first governor from agriculture for Nebraska in 100 years is a unique perspective. I've spent my life in it, so I would sure hope I can communicate halfway effectively about it. And we have a team here from Balen, which is cool, from home, Columbus, and they've got some great opportunities to transform some grain storage here into the coffee bean industry. So and it's a great opportunity for Nebraska to do business in buying coffee from Vietnam, because we obviously can't make coffee beans in Nebraska. And those are really great opportunities for all of agriculture. With the new new soybean meal plants going, or soybean crush plants going in. Aquaculture is growing here in Vietnam, and so they need protein, and obviously the soybean meal is a huge asset for that. So just a lot of different opportunities to do business, with a lot of different people. So making all those connections and interactions is what the goal of this week's trip is.
Ultimately, what would you like to see come from this trip?
Yeah. Well, I think none of us have enough patience, right? We want to see orders, but everybody that is on our trip, we have a delegation of 20 people. They're all in positions to make decisions and be getting work done and getting results. And I think that in the short period we've been here, everybody's ecstatic with the impact so far. And then, like I say, the next step is being able to get folks to come to Nebraska so that they can really see how extraordinary what we do is. Most of us that have lived in Nebraska a lifetime, we just think it's the way it is. But we need to stand back and look at how agriculture has changed so dramatically in the state of Nebraska in the last 50 years. And we really are the most sustainable producers in the world because of our Ogallala aquifer and the innovation and risk taking of Nebraskans. And the goal is to make sure that we can capture that, because there's just a lot of the sustainability efforts, or it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, it's a great opportunity to create value. It's a brand new market, and it's really important to a lot of people around the world, and it is for the consumers of Vietnam as well.
Governor, what do you see as the economic impact, or is it too early to tell what this might mean to the state of Nebraska?
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest challenges right now is simply our government. It would have our government, the last two administrations, currently the Biden administration and the Trump administration, were not open to working on a trade agreement with Vietnam. So one challenge right now is simply there's a lot of free trade agreements with countries, and we have to overcome tariffs. Right now, I think the cattle industry, it's a heavy lift in spite of the quality, in spite of the safety, and the incredible product. There's like a 23% tariff for U.S. beef. Pork industry had been 15, and one person tonight told me that they were pretty sure it was down to 5%. That's one that can be overcome because of quality, but the tariffs, that's a big issue that for the Vietnam market to really explode for Nebraska and for the U.S. We have to get a more level playing field. Right now Australia is bringing a ton of beef in. Brazil's bringing pork in, and it's a little bit of its freight, and then it's the tariffs and the trade agreements. So, those are things. But ultimately, Susan, we just have to be able to have significant business done. I think right now we do right at $1 billion out of Nebraska. As we talk about the most sustainable products because of our Ogallala aquifer and the innovation of Nebraskans, that really resonates, and I'm very optimistic that we can grow that. And as the economy gets better, I think, we were at a high-end grocery store and restaurant, and as that person said, the people that does business there, they have no problem that it costs 15% more because of the tariff. So there are, in spite of the tariffs, there are some really good market opportunities.
Well, it's a great opportunity for Nebraska to be out there in the forefront and showcase. And then obviously, like you said, welcome them to Nebraska to see firsthand what you guys are talking about this week while you're there.
Yeah, that's good. And then the other piece that Chancellor Lee from University of Nebraska at Omaha is part of the delegation. She met with Fulbright scholars, and the other piece is making sure that Vietnam will be a great group to get international students from. I think right now that there's about 30,000 Vietnam students in the United States for higher education. I asked how many students would like to be in the United States, and they said try 10 times that, 300,000. And so, to keep our education affordable for our kids, we need to grow enrollment and international students with COVID and so forth have taken a hit. So the Vietnam, that there's some tremendous opportunities there, and Vietnam's a very, very young country. The average age is 32, and there's that's another venue that is really important for the state that can help us keep our education costs down and grow our student enrollment.
Well, Governor, we appreciate you joining us. I know it is late there in the evening while it is early in the morning here in Nebraska. I'll let you go so you can get some sleep. But do you have any final parting thoughts about being in Vietnam?
Well, I think that the parting shot would be, hopefully everybody listening is just proud as heck and fully appreciates what we do in Nebraska, our way of life, our quality of life, and then how we pull together and how we've changed things and the progress that's been made in our state in the last 50 years on all fronts. And let me tell you what, when we start bragging about it, people are standing back and going, "You're kidding me! I didn't know that." So hopefully Nebraskans feel great about the role everybody's done, and hopefully these kinds of experiences will inspire us all to say, I think I can even do a little more. I can do a little better, and because for the next generations down the line, that's just essential. We're in the global marketplace, and we have to compete our tails off every day.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much. Joining us from Vietnam, Governor Jim Pillen, as he is on a trade mission showcasing all the great things that Nebraska has to offer. Director Sherry Vinton is joining us now from Vietnam. You guys just had an amazing reception as you've started out the beginning of a trade mission. Let's talk a little bit about why it's important for Nebraska and agriculture to be in Vietnam.
Well, this is an emerging market, so there's a tremendous amount of growth potential here for Nebraska products. Right now, we're the #1 exporter of beef to Vietnam, and there's huge potential. This is a growing market. They have 100 million people here, and it's a growing middle-class economy. It's also a very young market. The average age in Vietnam is actually very, very young. So we see a lot of potential here for high-quality products that people want to feed their families, and they know that Nebraska can provide the food safety and the high quality that they're looking for.
So, Director, what are they looking for when it comes to Nebraska agriculture?
Well, there's several things that have huge potential here. Of course, in the protein segment, it's going to be beef and pork, but feed grains are also very, very important here. They don't have the land mass to grow the feed grains that they need for their agricultural animal industry. And there's also an emerging aquaculture industry. So we can see a lot of things in high protein feeds that they need to feed their fish.
So initially, what's been your reaction to being on this trade mission?
Well, it's very exciting. It's hard to describe the energy here, but it's a very dynamic economy. There's going to be things going on with infrastructure. We have companies here that are going to provide that infrastructure for the grain handling. And so that's very important as well. So the opportunity seems to be real, and it seems to be now. So it's good for Nebraska to be on the ground floor. Those relationships have been developing over the last 10 years, and now it's time to seal the deal.
Did you bring producers with you as well to kind of put that Nebraska feel into the conversation?
We do have some producers with us. Primarily, we have the companies that are going to be doing business here this time to start that relationship. So it's been a very good trip. We have several good companies with us that are actually going to be exporting products to Vietnam.
Well, wonderful, and it's great to see that you have already made great headways at the beginning of this trip. Now, how long are you guys going to be in Vietnam, and what are some things after you get some sleep that'll be on your agenda?
Well, tomorrow we're going to be going with UNO. They're looking to develop a relationship with another university here. And so that's going to be a nice relationship for Nebraska. You know, Vietnam has the people and we have the products. And so we can do kind of a cultural exchange there. If we can bring some of their people to Nebraska and send our products here, it's a very nice fit and exchange. We'll also be looking at a company called Premier Foods that exports a lot of beef to Vietnam. And then we will continue on down to Hanoi and we'll have some high level meetings with government officials.
Well, wonderful. Thanks, Sherry. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Just that we're looking forward to a lot of opportunity for Nebraska producers. You know, not only corn, but soybeans. The ethanol market here is starting to open up. They're looking at higher blends. And so this is going to be a good thing for Nebraska.